Welcome back to the channel, everyone, or welcome if this is your first time joining. Today we have another Star Wars update for you guys, and we've got a rumor to talk about here. Apparently, after the sequel trilogy, after The Rise of Skywalker, apparently there was a Hunt for Ben Solo movie that was pitched, had a full script turned in that was greenlit to be made, but Bob Iger pulled the plug on it because he claimed it didn't make sense how Ben Solo was still alive. So we've got this article here. A lot's been coming out about this movie, and we're going to talk about this here. So this is coming from the playlist. I haven't read this article yet, so you're going to see my reactions to it firsthand. But it's titled The Hunt for Ben Solo. Steven Soderbergh and Adam Driver's secret Star Wars movie was greenlit before Disney pulled the plug. It says exclusive. It says shoulda, woulda, coulda, I guess. 6 months ago, I learned that Steven Soderbergh and Adam Driver had quietly developed a post-Rise of the Skywalker Star Wars film titled The Hunt for Ben Solo, written by Scott Z. Burns, but out of an abundance of reportedly caution, I didn't go forward with the story. This week, Driver himself revealed that the project's existence in an Associated Press interview, confirming that he and Soderbergh had worked on a Star Wars movie that never came to fruition. The playlist can now confirm that the film advanced far beyond development. It had a completed script, the full creative stamp of approval from Lucasfilm, including Kathleen Kennedy, and was greenlit internally before being canceled by Disney executives Bob Iger and Alan Bergman. Sources close to the project emphasize that this was not a loose concept or early pitch. The film, operating under the code name Quiet Leaves, had a finalized screenplay and was entering early prep and staffing stages. Disney purchased a fully developed treatment and beat sheet developed by Soderbergh and screenwriter Rebecca Blunt. Now, if you don't know what a treatment is or a beat sheet is, so a beat sheet is basically blocks of parts of the story going from the beginning to the end. Has the midpoint, the turns, everything in there. And a treatment is basically just a 1 to 2 page overall, basically concept of what the story is. Rebecca Blunt, the pseudonym for Jules Asner, Soderbergh's wife, who also wrote Logan Lucky, and hired Scott Burns, who was paid more than any screenwriter in Lucasfilm history, to complete the screenplay. Burns' connection to Star Wars goes back further than most realize. The playlist previously reported in 2016 that the Contagion screenwriter was one of the uncredited writers on Rogue One before Tony Gilroy came aboard to take over and complete the film. According to insiders, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, and Carrie Beck were directly involved throughout the development and were reportedly enthusiastic about the drafts that came in. Kennedy and the Star Wars Story Group waited until the project was ready to shoot before they presented it to Disney. When the final script, budget, and proposed start date were delivered to Disney, it marked the first time Lucasfilm had ever presented a fully approved project that did not move forward. That did not move forward. After the submission, the project stalled at the executive level. Sources say Bergman took an unusually long time to read the script, and when he and Iger finally responded, their primary concern was narrative continuity, specifically uncertainty about how Ben Solo could be alive following the events of The Rise of Skywalker. Internally, that reaction surprised Lucasfilm leadership, who reportedly felt the story's logic was clear and creatively sound. Several people close to the production interpret the decision as politically motivated, coinciding with Iger's efforts to position Bergman as his successor at Disney. My thoughts. So, you don't understand how Ben Solo could still be alive, but your description of how the Emperor was still alive was, somehow the Emperor has returned. But you can't fathom how Ben Solo could be alive. Okay. The fallout from that decision appears to have extended beyond the project itself. Bergman's handling of several high-profile initiatives has been criticized internally, and his standing within Disney's succession plan has reportedly weakened. Other executives, including Josh D'Amaro and Dana Walden are now viewed as stronger contenders for the top job. Soderbergh and Driver were never compensated for their work on the project, while Burns reportedly received a low but substantial seven-figure sum. Evidence of the film's progress surfaced earlier this year when Lucasfilm designer Bobby McKenna posted on Twitter that he had taken part in the design sprint under the Quiet Leaves codename in early pre-production phase for the movie. The title itself strongly suggests that the narrative focus Ben Solo redeemed at the end of The Rise of Skywalker survives, and his whereabouts become the central mystery. Whether Rey Skywalker or other established characters were involved remains unconfirmed. Some fans have speculated that Driver's recent comments were an attempt to pressure Disney into reviving the project, but sources close to both the actor and Soderbergh dispute this. Both filmmakers reportedly consider the project permanently shelved and are no longer bound by NDAs or any contractual restrictions, as the film is classified internally as dead. Separately, recent online reports that David Fincher pitched a new Star Wars film following The Rise of Skywalker are inaccurate. As is already publicly but not widely known, Fincher met with Lucasfilm years earlier, before The Force Awakens, as many filmmakers did to gauge interest, but that conversation didn't yield anything. Fincher has voiced his opinion about the challenges of making these films in the past. A source close to Fincher confirms that the filmmaker had a loose idea for a story set between episodes 8 and 9 of the Skywalker saga, but it never progressed beyond the initial concept and failed to gain traction with Lucasfilm, resulting in no formal development. Reports that the final cut was a deal-breaker are incorrect, as the idea never remotely progressed that far. Only a few phone calls were made between him and Kennedy. One source called it a non-story, and at the time of the post, Rise of Skywalker, Fincher had moved on and was focused on his Netflix projects Mank the Killer and an unproduced Chinatown prequel series written by Robert Towne. Disney's board is scheduled to meet in January to determine Iger's successor, with an announcement about Kennedy's eventual replacement at Lucasfilm expected soon after. Whether new leadership could revive abandoned projects remains uncertain. Though possibly unlikely for now, The Hunt for Ben Solo stands as a rare example of a fully realized, Lucasfilm-approved Star Wars film that was stopped only after reaching Disney's highest executive offices. Lucasfilm did not respond to press inquiries for this story. So, it sounds like this film was all ready to go, and they just, nope, we're not going to do it because we don't understand how Ben Solo could still be alive. That's what I gained from this. And the way I see it, if you can explain that the Emperor's back just by saying somehow he returned, but you can't fathom how Ben Solo could still be alive when he was part of a Force dyad, it just goes to show that they don't have people in charge that understand these IPs. I've said for years, if you're going to be in charge of an IP and run these IPs, you need to understand and have knowledge, and you need to be a fan of these IPs first and foremost. They don't need to be businessmen. They don't need to be people just wanting to make money. You have to be passionate about these IPs. That goes for Star Wars. That goes for Marvel. That goes for DC. They continually put the wrong people in charge that want to do their own thing that doesn't adhere to the source material. The sequel trilogy never should have been made. They should have focused it on the expanded universe, and they would have made way more money, and the sequels wouldn't have been failures. If you would have done a true sequel trilogy with Han, with Luke, with Leia, with their children, and progressed off of that, you would have made money, and Star Wars would be in a much better position than what it is right now. That's just my thoughts. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you haven't yet, please take the time, like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any other Star Wars content or any other videos that I have coming out. If you want to view any other Star Wars videos that I have, you can check those out here and here. With that being said, I hope everybody has a great week. God bless everybody. May the Force be with you, and we will see you on the next video.